Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio, where having a rowing coach only makes you better. Following a program gives you a true pathway to becoming a confident rower who is respected by your peers. You can become the athlete you want to row with. I'm Rebecca Caro, and I am not joined by Marlene Royal this week. Marlene is taking a well-earned vacation over the holiday period, so you've got me. I am the solo presenter. It's that time of year where we know we need to find a unique gift for the Christmas holidays, and don't we all know how hard this can be? The gift must be novel, exciting, and ideally it should get a real wow factor when it's unwrapped. The challenge bar is set high. Faster Masters have found the answer. Unidragon make unique, colourful puzzles that not only challenge your assembly skills, but hidden within each puzzle are little animal silhouettes disguised as puzzle pieces. It's a bit hard to describe. So if you go to unidragon.com, that's unidragon.com, or search for Unidragon puzzle, you'll see the pictures and then you'll understand. There are designs like owls, a wolf, a lynx, a row of birds, a tiger, and a fantasy phoenix. The colours and styling are stunning, and each one can become an artwork in its own right. But look for those tiny embedded animals. They make the Unidragon puzzle a gift to treasure long after Christmas is over. You can snag yourself a 10% discount with the coupon rowing at unidragon.com. Now, it's very nice to see some live viewers coming online to join us. Hello to a viewer here in New Zealand. And this week, I've got a whole load of interesting things that I just want to run through and kind of chat with you. So as rowers and listeners, it would be great if you have comments you want to add and join in. Just write them underneath the live stream and I will see them as they come through. A reminder for those who might be interested in a rowing conference. The US Rowing Convention's on the 6th of December. You don't have to be a US Rowing member in order to take part, but go and have a look at the roster of speakers because, surprise, surprise, Marlene and I are on that list. We're going to be talking about a vision for the future of Masters Rowing. The whole of the Monday afternoon session has now been branded Masters Monday, and we're going to be joining Jim Dietz and Will Ruth, who are also speaking on other Masters topics. I very much hope that we'll be able to see you there and that we have some ideas that I think anyone who is in a leadership position in their club will really enjoy. It's challenging. And I think you know that for a while I've been on a journey to advocate for Masters Rowing around the world. And this is the very first time that we've been granted a platform to talk about it. So huge gratitude to the team at US Rowing for having trust in us. And I know that you're going to find some of the things that we're talking about are going to be really interesting. We have some Thanksgiving from Glenda, who's watching in the US. Yes, indeed, it's Thanksgiving Day in the USA, and very nice to be the recipient of your thanks. We're grateful back to you. Now, there was a very interesting question that got asked this week. How do I coach people in a rowing tank? The questioner had a group of beginners who have previously done some on-water rowing. And what are the things that you can do in an inside tank? Now, tanks are designed to help people who can't get on the water, particularly during the winter months, but they're also supremely useful for going back to basics and learning how to move your body in the way that the coach wants you to. Many of the tanks have mirrors, so it's very easy to row and also watch yourself while you're rowing. The quick answer to how do I coach in a rowing tank is really just do the same things that you would normally have been doing on the water, but there are some distinct advantages. In a tank, as a coach, you can actually get up close to your athletes, and with their permission, you can reposition their bodies so that they're in the right positions that you want for the different parts of the rowing stroke. And that's really, really useful, because it's not really possible to do that when you're coaching from a boat or from the bank. Some tanks do sweep and sculling, some just do one. I would focus on the drills and skills that you would have been doing anyway on the water. And for the group of novices, I'd say keep them rowing square blades. Use the tank session to help to teach them the timing points in the stroke. Two critical ones that I like to teach, and this applies also to anyone who's in a crew boat. Unless you're the stroke, you have someone to follow, and learning to follow is a skill in and of itself. Two timing points I like to teach. One is watching the elbows of the person in front. In sweep, you look at the outside elbow. In sculling, you look at both the elbows. And what you're looking for is the elbow coming backwards and then moving away as you finish the power phase, tap down, and then continue on the recovery phase. And I just say to athletes, follow the timing of the elbows of the person in front of you. So that's one. And then the second thing after that is then to follow the slide timing on the recovery. When do they lean forwards, bend their knees, and when do the little wheels of the slide start to move? Those are two really, really good timing points. Doesn't matter how skilled you are, they're really worthwhile learning to follow. And while you're in the tank, I'd also suggest filming. Take out your phone and just take little shots of video. If you can film two athletes at the same time so that you can see them rowing together, or perhaps not quite rowing together, that then helps them to see how they're doing. And then if you take two and then progress up and do the next two, so somebody is in the first and the second little bit of film at the same time, you need 3 or 4 strokes with each athlete. So it doesn't need to be a very long piece of film, but it then helps them to see what they are doing. I like to film in 2 ways. One is from 90 degrees square off to the athlete from their side, and the other is 45 degrees. And the advantage of the 45-degree film is that you can then actually usually see the tip of the blade at the same time as you can see the athletes. This slightly depends on the layout inside your tank. Now, Faster Masters Rowing has been going since 2019. So we're coming up for an anniversary in April. And Marlene and I have spent a little bit of time thinking about the future. And we'd very much like you, our customers, fans, friends around the world, to be a part of our future planning. I'm going to tell you a little summary of how we started Faster Masters, what it is now, and what we think it might be in the future. And we'd love your ideas and feedback. So when we started, our vision was to write a training program for an athlete who doesn't have a coach. And we started off with just a simple monthly program with the same 6 modules that currently exist. We reasoned that there were probably crews who might like to have a program and whole club groups who might like a program. And so we have 3 separate basic services, which are all slightly different depending on what they're being written for. We thought that there might be coaches who would like some personal development, or who were coaches who didn't particularly want to write a training program as part of their job. And so the coach/club program is pretty much the same thing. It includes a monthly Zoom call with the participants or the coach to advance things, answer particular questions, review video, and so on. The magazine is for people who do have a training program and do have a coach, but might like just to read some articles each month that are relevant to Masters Rowing. So that was the basic suite that we kicked off with. Then we realized that we could do sort of one-off webinars, and we did a very first one called the Functional Movement Assessment. in which we went through a range of exercises that you can do to test how mobile your body is and how skillful it is at getting into the positions that rowing requires. We did this in an ebook, and then in the webinar, we went through the sorts of physiotherapy exercises and stretches which you can do, which can improve your flexibility and mobility and your ability to get into those positions. So that was the very first one that we did. And since then, we've added several more one-off webinars designed to teach one particular small topic. So we did the Racing Starts Challenge, which I know many of you came along to. And we also did the Rigging for Masters webinar just 2 months ago. And last week, I did one on how to run a rowing club using virtual tools, digital tools, and ways to smooth the running of the club and reduce friction. So we've now got 4 separate webinars. And after we do each webinar, we leave them up in public so that you can watch the replay at any time if you bought a ticket to watch it live. If you missed the live date, it doesn't matter. You can still buy the product and watch the replay. And now we're moving forwards. We're interested in ideas from you about the sorts of things you might like us to do in future. So I've got one suggestion, which I would dearly love some ideas from. We know there's a very large group of masters rowers who don't want to be racing, but they love training and they like the challenge of learning new skills and techniques. If you're a masters rower who fits into that bucket, so you like going rowing, but you don't want to race, would you like a faster masters program? Something that is more orientated to your goals, that is perhaps more technique and skill acquisition focused rather than doing long endurance rows or sprint pieces in order to prepare for a race. Really would value any feedback you can give. So if you know someone who fits into that mold, go and ask them, what would be helpful for them? Would they like just 3 outing ideas that they can use as a focus for their workouts over a couple of weeks? So that's one idea of something we might do in the future. And the other is to look at new webinar topics. What are the things that you might like to learn about? Are there things that perhaps we've touched on in this podcast that you think, actually, I'd like a lot more detail than you can really go into in a podcast? So one topic might be steering. A masterclass on how to use toe steering, as they call it in America, or rudder steering with steering wires to steer a pair, a double, a quad, a 4. Very happy to consider things like that. So let us know if there's anything that sounds like a topic where you think, I've always wanted to know, whatever that is. The last thing that I have got set up is the beginnings of something to answer your individual questions. I've just put the page up today, and it's called Concierge, which basically means guide in French, or guide advisor. It's fastermastersrowing.com/concierge. And if you go there, you can book a 20-minute free meeting with us to answer any questions that you might have about your rowing, coaching, your experience in the sport. If you think that you have something that's personal and private and individual. So we're very happy to do our best to answer them. I don't promise to have a magic wand and know the answer to everything, but I do know that I've been in the sport for a while, and that some of the things that come up and might be something you're seeing for the first time may be something that I've actually seen before. And so I may be able to offer some guidance and some advice. So if you're interested in that, I've made a few dates available over the next 3 weeks at fastermastersrowing.com/concierge. Thank you for that suggestion. Going back to the earlier topic when I was talking about ideas for webinars. How about a program on setting up the rigging, the foot stretchers, and the oarlock heights for masters? That is a great one, and I will write that down. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm sorry I don't know who it is who's written that, but that's a really, really nice one. We can definitely give that a whirl. I also had an idea, just since we're chatting, about possibly doing something on menopause and rowing. Obviously, more of interest to our female listeners, but not necessarily exclusively. So if you think that's something that might be of interest, and Marlene has also put forward an idea for doing a nutrition seminar, talking about how the nutritional needs of our bodies change as we age and what we can do about it, particularly with a view to how to age well. And this is a very, very big topic, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But obviously, what we put in our mouths and use for our fuel is an important part of how we structure our lives as adults who want to live well now and into the future. Now, before we go, I want to show you the beautiful photograph that I've chosen for my backdrop today. This is from Celia Proulx Clark, and it's Bainbridge Island in Washington State. And it just shows the most beautiful glassy water with a chain of boathouses set against a backdrop of autumnal trees, just turning to an orangey brown color and then set off by a skyline of pine trees, which is silhouetted against the sky. And the reflections, of course, of the boathouses in the water are simply lovely. So that brings our little mini podcast on Thanksgiving Day to an end. I've been Rebecca Caro, and this has been Faster Masters Rowing Radio, the show dedicated to masters athletes who want fun, fitness, and confidence in their rowing. You can become a student of the sport by buying a Faster Masters program today at fastermastersrowing.com/join. And thank you to everybody who's joined me live. It's been lovely having you along. And please send in any ideas that you have by email. Just go to the website and find the contact page. Till next time. Bye-bye.